Hey everybody, this is Nick Baldwin, and today I'm being joined by the former Bellator featherweight champion AJ "Mercenary" McKee, who takes on Roberto de Souza in the main event of Bellator versus Rizin New Year's Eve in Japan. AJ, how are you?
Another day in paradise, man. I can't complain.
Awesome. Thanks so much for doing this. I appreciate it. Obviously, this is a big card coming up on New Year's Eve, a historic card, co-promotion between Bellator and Rizin. You are one of 5 Bellator fighters who were selected, or at least opted to compete on this card. How did your involvement sort of come about?
Sorry. I actually spoke to Mr. Coker about it. I believe this was about 2 years prior, when I was in the 145-pound tournament, and that was when they first did one of the collabs, and I was like, "Yo, I want to fight in Japan. Like, I don't care, like, let's make it happen. I don't care if I'm in the tournament still or not. Like, let's make it happen." And he's like, "Yo, just take your time, chill." And I'm like, "Nah," you know what I mean? And 2 years in the making, here we are. We're doing a Rizin versus Bellator, and they selected me as the 155-pounder to come over and represent not only the organization but my country as well, and everybody back home. So I'm looking forward to just going out there and putting on a great show and utilizing this arsenal that I'm normally not.
I think you cut out there for a second, but I caught most of what you said. So going back 2 or 3 years, what sort of drew you toward Japan? Why did you want to compete in Japan?
I can soccer kick somebody in their face, bro. Like, come on. Every street fight, you know what I mean, ends with a good soccer kick to the face. So I'm just looking forward to getting back to those barbaric styles, you know what I mean, and go out there and just run through this guy and hopefully get a nice soccer kick or soccer stomp or a knee to a grounded opponent, those are the kicks that I think are going to make a big deal. And it's just an arsenal that I really don't get to tap into too much. So calling myself mercenary, you know what I mean? It's all about what's in your arsenal.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask what you were most excited about when it comes to competing in Japan. Whether it was the fans or the fact that you have to travel and sort of maybe make it out into a trip. But it sounds like knees to heads of grounded opponents and soccer kicks is probably the answer.
Yeah, that all the way. Hopefully New Year's after the fight, I can go find a nice little car meet. You know what I mean? Because I know the car scene's super big out there. I'm really big into the cars, so I mean, seeing the R34 just Nismo'd out right in front of me would be just bucket list as well. Hopefully, I own one day.
Any concerns about the Rizin rule set, or is it all positives as far as you're concerned?
Yeah, I'm ready. It's something I've dreamed of since I was a kid. So obviously there's being aware and being cognitive of what can happen. It can change a fight in an instant. So it's just kind of being cognitive of that. You got to be aware of your surroundings, be aware of where you're at in the fight, and this is a fight where my opponent, he's very skilled jiu-jitsu wise. So me having the wrestling advantage and also I feel the striking advantage, this is where I'm going to be able to capitalize and just catch him trying to take a bad sloppy shot or something and hit him with a flying knee or just a teep kick to the face, something crazy. I'm really intrigued and looking forward to trying to get a head stomp, a Sakuraba, just like I'm stomping your face in type stuff. Like it's a bit barbaric, but man, like I go in the cage and I fight for my life. Like this is my living. This is what I do. You know what I mean? So, I mean, the more hostility, the more eager I am to get in there.
Do you think these kinds of strikes should be part of the unified rules over here in North America?
No.
No?
Hell no, bro. It's probably like the quickest and easiest way to end somebody's career. You're not going to have a long career getting soccer kicked in the head every fight. You know what I mean? So I think it's like a once in a lifetime opportunity. It's something you can do maybe every other year or something, but to have every fight, you're just getting kneed in the face and soccer kicked, man. It's a rough one. I'm getting a headache just thinking about it. But
so you wouldn't want that, because there's fighters out there that compete solely for Rizin or one championship. That's what they do. That is every fight. You wouldn't want that?
Not really. But these guys, they don't really utilize that much. You know what I mean? Like even the guy I'm fighting, he's able to use these rules, but he doesn't utilize them. You know what I mean? To his full potential. Where like myself, elbows are my bread and butter. I'm throwing elbows every chance I get, whether we're on the ground, whether we're on the feet. You know what I mean? That's where I cause a lot of damage. If I throw an elbow, 9 times out of 10, I'm cutting somebody open. And yeah, if my master craft was soccer kicking people in the face, I think a lot of people would be going home with headaches and concussions.
What have you done, if anything, in the gym to sort of get yourself ready for this change in the rule set?
Every time I stuff a takedown, I'm throwing knees and I'm pushing away and kicking people in the face. But I'm not like literally kicking them in the face. I try to stop the kick, obviously, right before it hits their face. But sometimes I fall a little short and we get a little connection. But it's part of the game, man. They know what they signed up for. I appreciate my teammates for going through this with me. And, you know, obviously I tell them throw the same kicks at me. You know what I mean? I gotta be aware of my surroundings and the possibilities of what can happen to myself as well in there.
Now, obviously, notably, you're sort of a homegrown talent. All of your pro fights up until this point have been in Bellator proper, in that Bellator cage. So different environment. How do you feel about that? Not just from a ring versus cage, but just from sort of a different thing, a different environment than what you're used to.
I think it's gonna be fun. You know, the environment just in Japan alone, the fans, the way the crowd is. My dad's fought there, so he's kind of geared me up to it. I've heard mixed signals. I've been hearing a lot about cheating and stuff. I'm like, how can you cheat in a fight? But I don't really give a damn. You know what I mean? For me, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to just go over there, beat the brakes off somebody, come home, and I wish the belt was on the line. You know what I mean? It's always nice to have a new belt. Maybe I could work out a little side bet with Robert to where he gets my belt if he wins, and I'm going to take his belt when I win.
Did you talk to Rizin and Bellator and try and get his lightweight title on the line, or was that not really a discussion to be had?
No, it wasn't really a discussion, just because along the lines of, all right, somebody wins the title, then how are they going to go defend the title and so forth? You know what I mean?
Sure.
So it's a lot in between, but hey, man, we're all warriors. They're really big into the samurais out there. So maybe the winner gets like a 6 samurai sword. You know what I mean? Show who the real warrior is or something. I don't know. It's just a mind full of crazy ideas.
This seems like it's kind of a one-time thing, but do you think it'd be cool if, like, I don't know, some of you guys like do rematches, but then in the Bellator cage sometime in 2023?
Definitely. Different rule set, you know. I feel they have the advantage of it. We're going to fight them in their home turf, their home backyard, their ring, their rule set. So, man, I forgot who said it, but bring that ass here, boy. If you trying to DC Young Fly, you know what I mean? You want to test the waters, come into that cage, and I'll show you what a real animal's like.
And then I was talking about the ring versus the cage a second ago. So from a pure, physical standpoint, what do you feel like it'll make much of a difference? I feel like some fighters who've been in both, say there is a difference. Some say there's not. A fight's a fight. How do you think you'll see it?
I think it's definitely a big difference. Just for a fighter like myself, with a wrestling background, I really utilize the cage while I'm in there. Propping people up against the cage to kind of trap the lower back, putting pressure on the head, keeping them forward. The cage is a tool, and if you're not utilizing it, then you're wasting your surroundings. Versus the ring, the takedowns are a bit different. You have to cut the corner. You're not going to be able to pop them off the cage in a sense and slam them. These are going to have to be in snappy, quick takedowns, and that's where it's going to be. That's what I'm looking forward to.
I assume you've been using a ring, throughout this training camp?
Not really.
No?
Not really.
You'll just sort of go with it and hope it's all good?
Yeah, I mean, I've had ring experience prior, so I'm not too crazy about it. I'll probably go test out a ring before I take off. Definitely, get a couple rounds in there just to get acclimated a bit before the fight.
Gotcha. And when do you fly over to Japan?
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Okay, so next week. Do you is
21st.
that you feel like that'll be more than enough time to sort of get acclimated, time difference, just being in a different place, very foreign place, that sort of thing?
Definitely. When I went there for the press conference, literally within 24 hours I was acclimated. Like the following day I was adjusted. It was kind of weird just because like my normal trips when I go to London, the UK, and all those other places, it's just weird. Like it takes me about a week to get adjusted versus Japan. I felt adjusted immediately. Might have been the jelly beans.
All right. Well, that's good to hear. So looking a little past this fight, looking into the new year, into 2023, what's the plan? Do you see a title shot or title fight with Usman Nurmagomedov sort of being that next fight? Is that going to happen, do you think? Is that what you want?
Yeah, that's the fight to make. You know what I mean? I felt Patricio was gifted that belt from his brother. But my main fight, for my legacy, excuse me, my main fight, I get tired of talking about this subject because, Pitbull's just running scared, man. He's talking about going to the 35-pound division and so forth. But I think for his legacy's sake, for my legacy's sake, the trilogy is mandatory, man. Everybody needs to see it. Everybody wants to see it. So, no more duck, goose, man. Like, it's time to cut me loose and settle this once and for all. We're 1-1, but I think he knows in his heart we're 2-0, and I'm looking forward to making it 3-0.
So you would only do that at 55, though, correct? You're not going to be back.
No, I'll go back down to 45s.
Oh, you would go back down?
Yeah, that's been the whole talk,
Okay,
That was the whole point, he released the belt to his brother so he could focus on me, which was all a facade, you know what I mean? I don't know. Let's fight, bro. I don't care what weight, what division. Like, obviously 35s is out of the reach. He knows that. And that's why I believe he's speaking upon going down to the 135-pound division.
So then for you, not to get too far ahead of things, but you would go back down, beat him, and then go back to 55, I would imagine?
For the tournament, most definitely. I'm trying to cash that in, man. Okay. Do it the same way I did with him. Be the dark horse, riding through the night and conquer the entire tournament one person at a time. I don't care who I fight first. At the end of the day, we're all 0-0 going into that tournament, and may the best man win.
Well, last thing, before anything, it's Roberto de Souza on New Year's Eve in Japan. How does that fight play out? How do you get the job done?
Soccer kick to the face, man.
I didn't even need to ask. Well, AJ, thanks so much for doing this. I appreciate it, and best of luck to you in just a couple weeks.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. Peace and blessings. Happy holidays to you and the family.
Happy holidays. Thanks, AJ.
All right. Have a good one.